Well, there's so many other great TV shows nominated for Golden Globes, as we know, but there can only be one winner.
There's no such thing as a tie at the Golden Globes. Here to break down his predictions is TV Guide senior editor Malcolm Venable. Are you excited for Sunday?
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous.
Really?
You know, I got my picks. I got my faves. I got who ought to win. You know, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Who you think should win and who will win. There's a big difference between those two.
Those two, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, should we break it down starting with who you think for best drama series? Your predictions.
Is loaded.
Okay, so this one's going to be tight. So
Yes.
in this category, you have The Americans, this sort of spy thriller that's in its last season now. It's been phenomenal, a critical hit for a long time. Bodyguard, a new Netflix series about a guy who becomes a bodyguard for a conservative politician. Homecoming with Julia Roberts, which is really good, on Amazon. And it's Julia Roberts, I mean,
Yes.
come on. Killing Eve, as we talked about, with Sandra Oh, who's phenomenal in this, playing a woman who's tracking down a killer. And Sandra is just vulnerable, she's funny, she's tough, she's everything. It's really fantastic. And then there's Pose, the FX series that came out this year, about a group of kids who become a family, and they're all transgenders. This show is really a breakthrough moment in TV.
So breakthrough.
Because it's the highest number of transgender actors have ever been hired, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. And they really did a phenomenal job with the story. And it's a really fantastic series. So this is tight. I think the big front runners here are going to be The Americans, Killing Eve, and Pose. So our prediction is that The Americans is going to take it. This is last year. It's a phenomenal series. And the finale, especially this year, was just knocked everybody's socks off.
It did.
But, you know, Pose could take it. The Hollywood Foreign Press really loves a freshman series to celebrate. And because this one has done so much for representation, and it's just really good and fun and uplifting and funny, this one could take it.
Well, you mentioned the Hollywood Foreign Press. They kind of favor those first season shows, which is why I'm surprised that you think The Americans might take it, because this is what, the final season?
This is the sixth season, but it's so good.
It's so good. And here's what I love about this drama series category and all the representation that's there this season. Okay, one, yes, Pose, groundbreaking, edgy, is showcasing, I would say, not fringe, but a marginalized group of people that are coming to the forefront. Also, diving deep into the ball legacy of New York, and like Paris is Burning. But it's great writing. See, we talk about some of these series as if, like, you said Americans, its final season, but everything about it was great. The writing was great. The finale was great. So I think one of the things I love to see is when every contender in the category is worthy of being there. And I think Pose and The Americans, if they go head-to-head, if those are the two that the HFPA is going with, that's going to be a tight race.
Yeah, and it's unlikely, too, because they're totally different
Polar
types
opposites.
of storytelling. And nonetheless, they're both fantastic and really entertaining, so we'll see.
Yeah. All right, best comedy.
Best comedy. Okay, so in this category, you have Barry, which Bill Hader's playing this serial killer who wants to turn his life around and ends up being an actor. And not a great actor at first, so that's where the comedy comes in. And this one shifts in tone a lot, so it's fun. The Good Place, which is in this lineup that we're talking about, is the only broadcast show in the running, but it's also really fantastic. So if you haven't seen this one, I highly recommend it. It's basically starts out with this woman who believes she's in heaven, and then things change from there. I won't spoil it for you. Kidding. Jim Carrey famously comes to Showtime, and this sort of Mr. Rogers-esque role where he's this sort of tortured guy but wearing a smile, and he just suffers through all this bad stuff in his life with a smile on his face. Kind of creepy.
Right. Kind of autobiographical, though. I think, life imitating a little bit.
The Kominsky Method. This one is on Netflix, and it stars Michael Douglas and alongside like Alan Alda, and they're old buddies, two guys hanging out. This one's from Chuck Lorre, the creator of Big Bang Theory, so it's got some laughs, obviously. And then The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is just a fantastic series. This one's on Amazon Prime, of course. And this one won
last year, right?
Yeah. Major last year.
And so Again.
Do you think that that's going to hurt its chances this year because it won in its freshman season last year?
Possibly, and I think that these are two wildly different storytelling types. The frontrunners here are probably going to be Barry and the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So wildly different storytelling types, but Mrs. Maisel is just so rapturous and wonderful. It feels cinematic. It's beautifully shot, and Barry's great. It's different and funny and edgy, but the conventional wisdom, we're feeling like Mrs. Maisel is going to take this one.
Okay, I agree with you on that one. Now, last we have Best Limited Series for TV Movie. What are here are the nominees that you guys are seeing on screen?
So many.
I want to say, personally, I don't think it's going to be Crime Story. I'm sorry. It wasn't from OJ, which was impeccable, to this Versace story. To me, it left me wanting more.
So a lot of people had mixed feelings about this particular season. So for those who don't know, this American Crime Story, which is one of the front runners here, follows how Gianni Versace, the famous fashion designer, got murdered by Andrew Cunanan. This happened in the 90s, and essentially the story is told in reverse. So it starts with the murder and then goes back in time to show how he killed several other people before getting to Versace and also became this person in the first place. And what it really attempts to do, and I think does fairly well, is sort of talk about entrenched homophobia and makes the case that if Andrew Cunanan was, because he was gay and was targeting gay men, that law enforcement was a little bit slow to respond. And the acting is fantastic. Darren Criss absolutely kills it as Andrew Cunanan. He's already won an Emmy for it. Penelope Cruz is in it. Judith Light's in it. Yeah. It's fantastic. But it's up against a big frontrunner, Sharp Objects, on HBO. A lot of people love this one, too. Amy Adams plays this sort of troubled reporter who goes back home to solve these murders of these kids. And it's beautifully shot. It's kind of spooky and serene. And it's,
I'm still trying to figure out that show. To be honest with you, I had to watch a couple of the episodes twice to figure it out. But Amy is brilliant in it.
And Amy is so unsung. I feel like Amy is that one actress that, much like Bradley Cooper, fantastic work, consistent body of work, stellar all the way through, but gets so close, Susan Lucci, but never, always a bridesmaid, never the bride.
Another thing working in its favor is that it's directed by the same director who did Big Little Lies, whom everybody loves, and we're all anxiously waiting for that one to come back as well. So the toss-up here is going to be between Crime Story and Sharp Objects, and I mean, it's going to be a tough one, but I'm going to go ahead and say Versace.
Okay, well, we'll see if your predictions come true on Sunday at the Golden Globes.
So much wonderful TV.
And that's the beauty.
Can't go wrong with anything on the list. Enjoy it all. And
the only thing is we don't have enough time to binge watch everything before Sunday. But
it's criminal. Malcolm Venable. I'm going to ask you a question before you go.
Shoot.
Your breakout. What was the one thing that you could not live without television-wise in 2018?
2018. I'm going to go, I think... Ooh, this is hard. Probably Pose. I really liked it. I thought it was just so well done and different and funny and musical. I can't wait to see how it comes back. But there's so much here to love. Honestly, everything here is fantastic.
All right, Malcolm Venable, senior editor at TV Guide. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your predictions.
Good luck.